All right. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Well, maybe morning. I'm dropping everything. Good morning, all. It is Dr. Rob's Sunday Live. I'm back in New York. We got our Instagram, we got our Mighty Tribe, and we got our YouTube, Facebook. Thanks for stopping in. Your comments, your likes, subscribe, your shares, your loves. All of those things are important. We want to keep the mission of healing our brothers and sisters around the globe going. And I appreciate everyone. Alia and Dr. Nelson. Oh, Dr. Nelson, we got him in the house. There we go. We got to get Dr. Nelson in the group here. Dr. Nelson, how's it going? All right. I think I've got sound. Testing. We got you, doctor? Maybe. Let's see, making sure. Hang on, my Instagram friends. I'm trying to get my Dr. Nelson and I situated here. All right.
Good morning.
Oh, there we go. The man is in the house. Good morning, doctor. Great always to see you. As usual, we're sending healing and to all of our brothers and sisters around the globe. And let's see now, Dr. Nelson with Dr. Kiltz. We're live. How you doing, my brother?
I'm doing all right. Did you have a good trip?
I had a very nice trip. Mexico City is wonderful. I highly recommend people go and visit. Amazing people there. Culture is great. The food was fantastic. I managed to have mostly steak and eggs, and I think I did. I did have a tortilla. I mean, a taco with a corn tortilla. It was like we went to a taco place, was great, and I said, okay, I'm going to give it a shot, and it was fantastic. I survived. I thrived on it.
Good.
Yeah. So, and we're sending healing to Mitch. Have we heard about old guy Carnivore Mitch yet?
I have not, more than what you already know. Don't know if he's still in the hospital or not.
Well, I know he's got good care wherever he's at, and we're all sending him love and healing. We got Who's Your Carnivore in the house? Brett, awesome. I'll let you also. We get Granny, we got SM00, Dr. Kiltz, and Dr. Nelson. Let's see. And again, we appreciate the questions, the comments, the thoughts, the ideas, everything everyone's going through. This world. A doctor friend of mine called me this morning about carnivore, and it was sort of like I hadn't talked to this guy about carnivore before, and he's like, well, he's 53 and he's been on a statin since he was like 18. I didn't know they had him way back then.
How old is he now?
He's 53 or whatever it's been. He says he's been on a statin for. They've been around a long time.
Yeah. I believe the very first one may have come out in the 70s, maybe, or early 80s, and then a whole slew of them came out in the 80s.
And so he's kind of like, can I really change? And I said, well, 30 days of carnivore is not likely going to be the death of you. And then you might just feel so much better.
Yeah.
Right? What did I miss? I was gone for a week-ish, and you guys took a great job. It's sort of like, wow. And I was like, okay, I went down to the gym and I did that. And I thought, you know what? Let me just let you guys take care of it.
We tried our best, but we're definitely not you.
Oh, no, but there was, all I heard was good things out there, and we're doing this together. Primal Fox Holistics says hi from North Carolina. We've got I've got Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and we got Michelle Chapin on our Kiltz Mighty Tribe. Tracy Murphy sending prayers for old guy Carnivore. Michelle says hi from California. Lisa Pickert says hi and hope my travels were great. Sherelle Fistenberger from Philadelphia, and Paulette Hasty. Good morning. We got about 20 people on the Kiltz Mighty Tribe, about 70, almost 80 on YouTube, Facebook, and we got about 30 on our Kiltz, Dr. Kiltz Instagram. So it's nice. Someone said they made my ice cream, and you don't even need sugar at all. You could just have the eggs, cream. I do a little bit of vanilla. I personally think that small amounts of sugar from time to time are not the cause of disease. It's because we eat them all the time. Any comments, Dr. Nelson?
Yeah, the amounts of sugars, the excesses, if you would, are the problem. I mean, even the American Heart Association has on their website a limit of added sugar that when we go beyond that, and Dr. Lustig, Dr. Robert Lustig, I'm sure many people here listen to him, has talked about a limit of fructose, for example. And when we go beyond that, and the limit is very, very little. I mean, on a full-grown adult male, which is the largest amount, is only 35 grams a day. That's 7 teaspoons. And we can reach that very quickly if you're eating the standard atrocious diet, you're going to reach that in one meal. Okay. And you continue to eat that excess amount. Fructose acts the same as alcohol in the liver. I was talking to someone online, someone that we went to school, same school, not same grade, and she was telling me about, but this honey that has so much more fructose. Fructose it causes the same damage in the liver as alcohol. The exact same, almost the exact same pathway for causing damage. So a little bit once in a while, it's okay. Even the good, my opinion, even the good fruits, you have to, if you're eating them and you're constantly eating a lot of fruit, you're going to end up doing the same damage.
So in our ancient environments, how often did we find fruit, and did we eat vegetables all the time?
Yeah. Well, my people in the Caribbean probably more often than when you go higher latitudes of north, but it was still limited. I mean, and I'm not a farmer. I don't know much about agriculture, but I know that there are certain seasons to put your seed down and to reap the rewards, right? And you only have, it's not like you have 3-6 months growing the same thing. Everything has its seasons, and even if they were growing the fruits or the vegetables, they only had limited amount of times when they had access to them. I mean, how can you believe that apples grow 12 months of the year? However, I can find apples at Walmart every day of the year.
And so our hunting and gathering has come to hoarding and storing and eating 3 meals a day plus snacks in between. Is snacking really an important thing for us to do, Dr. Nelson?
No, it's probably one of the worst things that you can do. And I keep hearing sometimes, but you got to keep your metabolism up. No, you don't. You need to keep your stomach, you fill it, and you let it do its job, and let it empty, or just give it a rest for the next 4 or 5 hours at least.
Who's Your Carnivore made pemmican bars this morning and now waiting for them to cool. Can't wait to try them. It's homemade stuff. Isn't that the problem? We're relying on other people to sort of create and process our foods when we should be doing that more ourselves.
Yeah. I haven't done those, but that's the way our at least here in the United States, or a variation of probably what they did many other places, pemmican, where they, they process their own way the meat and fat. They probably put some fruits in there if they had them. Uh, if you had fruits, anybody would probably go for that because it was sweet, but we were not eating it constantly.
I did an interview with Jets Afterburners podcast, really, really inspired by what other people are doing. And the more people share their stories. But if you really look at our evolution in modern civilization, if you look at the major cities we live in, it really relies on a lot of peasant class, serfs, right? And ultimately, there are a lot of workers and there are very few leaders. And the leaders are making a lot of money on convincing us all we need to be eating lots of fruits and vegetables and this constant idea of snacking and eating 3 to 6 meals a day. And who's working for food anymore?
It's too much abundance sometimes, I think. And again, the eating 3 to 6 hours. There are some people who are into, of course, bodybuilding and constantly exercising and over-exercising, perhaps. And maybe they need more nutrients, but it doesn't apply to most of the population because none of us works as much as our ancestors did thousands of years ago.
But I really wonder that our problem is we've made LDL, cholesterol, VLDL, all these particles that are normal in our body as the killers, where in fact it's the food we eat that's the killer, and the metabolic fuel for our body is the fat that circulates in the VLDL, LDL in our body, and I still question, and I think we're all wrong, that sugar is never burned in our mitochondria. And insulin's job is actually to convert digestive amino acids and sugars to fat, or you die. Any thoughts?
Well, I mean,
maybe
some of the oxidation of glucose happens in the cytoplasm, and what you get to the mitochondria is acetyl CoA, right?
Right.
But you had Dr. Professor Barquet with you not too long ago, right? And he explains his Randall cycle, and it makes sense. If we have too much energy from everything, you're going to create a problem. And I think he doesn't like the construct of insulin resistance. And by itself, there is no particular thing, with the exception of having excess amounts of insulin, which are measurable. So whether you go down Dr. Bickman's explanation or Barquet's explanation, it's just too much food of everything at the end of the day. And excess carbohydrate consumption is going to make you sick. Is probably the real. There might not be a one cause of coronary heart disease and cardiovascular disease, but certainly the nutrient part is sugars and excess insulin causing inflammation, and the first thing that they destroy is the glycocalyx. I know you like that.
The glycocalyx. I was just reading a paper on sugar-coated sperm, and basically without the sugars on our cells, we would be dead. And it's the damage to the glycocalyx that probably is the leading cause of all disease. And we've sort of, maybe we need to rethink our metabolic theory. And maybe again, it's damage to the nanomotors or the plants, the sugars that are lining every single membrane of our body, and so I still question our science. Again, we've learned all these metabolic pathways, but how do we trust that science but not trust the food nutritional science? Maybe it's all wrong.
Yeah, definitely.
But I guess we have to hang our hat on something, don't we?
Yeah. I mean, you can ignore all sciences or try to weed out, and it's difficult. It's certainly difficult. There are opposing views out there, and some of them may not make that much sense. Like a favorite of the nutritionists is, oh, you have to eat complex carbohydrate, a lot of it because of the fiber. But complex carbohydrates, basically starchy foods, do not get absorbed as starch, right? They have to be digested in the gut first into the building block, which is what? Glucose. So you eat complex carbohydrate, you absorb sugar.
But in fact, don't all cells actually, of all plants, all animals, all microbes, contain both amino acids, fatty acids, and sugars? And my sense is it's the plants likely that contain the poison, and they ferment in our gut. And I mean, is alcohol consumed 3 times a day good for anyone?
No.
And maybe our children are living on a alcohol lifestyle because they're consuming a lot of plants and protein, right?
A lot of fermenting going on.
A lot of fermentation going on. Lisa Pickard, as my personal carnivore doctor says, studies are not there. We need carnivore studies, but it's possible to get, and the science studies are all in bed with each other. I just say science is snake oil. We're waiting for the carnivore science, which means someone's going to try to sell us something, a snake oil science, in my opinion. It seems to me like our good friend Lisa Pickard, we're ancient hunters, go hunting, eat the meat. So there's a Father United Carnivore, Michael Sully's father, reading, responding emails as of this AM. Good sign for Mitch. And we will be doing, I think, a September meetup in Syracuse, working on that. So that should be hopefully coming out soon.
Good morning, Thomas.
We're getting some mornings from Dr. Nelson, from Target Prime, Laura Taplin. Greetings from the Netherlands. Let's see. Koet Kabouter. Just being able. Did you get that one?
The name?
Yeah.
Could I think you said it how I would say it. I don't know if it's correct, but
yeah, drinking and eating toxins is not good for us. And everyone went. The music was loud, the drinks were flowing, and we're thinking, oh, it's a party life. We went over to some of the Aztec ruins, pretty amazing, in the Mayan ruins, and ultimately, civilization is basically a con to get everyone to be controlled by the masters who want to keep us the masses. And the meat was eaten by the masters, and the mush was eaten by the masses. Isn't it kind of a simple story? Bev is here. Mitch had a mild stroke. Is that what we've heard?
Apparently, it seems that he's talking and responding. Now, he didn't respond to our text, Dr. Kiltz, but
not yet.
Apparently, he's responding to emails. So
that's a good sign. They're probably trying to hide his stuff, not letting him to connect. The problem is all these carnivores out there. Papa says hi. Kitchen witch, awesome. Still in hospital and on the mind. Admin has been returning emails. That's good. Let's see. These two are polar opposites, Brad. Polar opposites in one way, but we want to bring the polar together. There's the yin and yang of life, right? We're bringing everyone together. That's what it's all about. Sandy. We got the son of Hoosier. The Tesla pros. Nice. Okay. A son of Hoosier. Nice.
Yeah, Brett's son.
Ah, cool. Nice. He cooks. He does a mean smoking barbecue, doesn't he? And tell us a little bit about the importance of fat in our diet. I mean, do we have any essential required carbohydrates, or really it's fats and proteins?
Well, depending who you listen to, right? But you just have to look at the pattern of eating for the past 70 years with the emphasis of low fat, because that's what causes all the evils of the chronic diseases, and the amounts of meat, in particular red meat, and fat consumption. There are graphs, you can see them in books, where the red meat consumption and the fat consumption has been going down, and at the same time, all-cause mortality, cardiovascular events, cancers is skyrocketing. I think that it might not be conclusive proof to some people, but very telling, right? And fats have pretty much all the vitamins, in particular, vitamin D, vitamin K, vitamin E, vitamin A, and many foods are thought to be so very high in vitamin A, but the plant foods, what they have is beta carotene, not the vitamin A that our body requires, which is retinol.
Although, go ahead.
No, it's a matter of using, like, they are plant sterols, right? But the cholesterol that we use is different from the one in plants. So sometimes we're building, when our plant intake is very high, we're building some of our structures with not the best building block.
And ultimately, there's a simple story here, and as Lisa points out, we evolved as hunters, but civilization brought us together as agriculturalists, controlled by the mighty master, who basically has given us a tremendous amount of propaganda. I always like Wikipedia. Ultimately, who's the expert out here? There's only one. Each of us must do the number one experiment on thyself. And, carnivore is not something you want to play around with, because if you do, you become controlling of your own life. And you're so used to someone else controlling it. Sandy W., new to the group and carnivore, figuring it out 1 month in and already less inflammation, getting easier to not have the carbs. Sandy W. And then Love Blom. Even if I, as a newbie, start to feel positive responses, eczema are no more, inflammation and hair sacs are gone. So it's a simple experiment. Isn't that what we're sharing here? And maybe that's the real truth here. You and I went into medicine to help and heal people, but so much of what we learned was hurting people.
Yes. And even Not too long ago, we've been telling people one thing, and then we find out other things. I you know, I'm in a way a little bit frustrated with the whole system.
Right. Modern medicine. And if you don't follow, you can lose your license. You could be reprimanded.
Well, I was not too long ago talking to another physician. We were sharing an office, and uh, didn't take me too long to show him the the relative risk of having diabetes and having a little bit of LDL cholesterol, which it's been demonized, right? And I happen to have a study here and that graph where out of 12 factors, the LDL cholesterol is number 11 down here. Okay. Number one, take a guess, diabetes. So if you're not controlling diabetes to control your risk of heart attacks and strokes, and you're depending on just, controlling the LDL, it may not be as important. And anyways, and he says, yeah, but we still have to follow the guidelines. And in a sense, sometimes some employers put a lot more emphasis on that, and you have to put your thinking cap and not do things automatically. And in fact, uh, I haven't been very good for past 15, 20 years in putting people on cholesterol medications. Insurances were always sending me letters. Oh, this patient has diabetes. It's not on cholesterol. Gotta be okay. Um, so I'm not sometimes very good at following something that doesn't feel right to me.
Right. Or if it's not right, why do we keep our oath is to do no harm, and we take an individual oath to the patient and not to the profiteers. And again, without profits, we can't keep going. But this is one of the problems. Here's a question from non-toxic mama. My blood sugar is still 100 in the morning, ketones low, even after fasting 24 hours. Should I be concerned? I did have treats when I was in New York City, but carnivore mostly. Any comments?
So 24 hours might not be long enough. If you're doing a 24-hour fasting, and you probably can do a 36, 48 hours, or even a 72 hours. Some people won't start making ketones until you go past 48 hours. And that's probably because your insulin levels might be a little high. When your insulin is high, your glucose is high, you're not going to make ketones. And so the first 24 hours, you're barely emptying your gut, probably not completely. There's still food getting absorbed. But if you're looking to make ketones, I think the ketones are important in some conditions, so much more than others. People who are battling cancer or any brain-related disorder, brain meaning neurological or psychiatric disorders, those things might be more important to pay attention to the ketones. But you're not going to make if your blood glucose is still 100 in the mornings, yeah, you probably need more than 24 hours.
And you're probably eating too much and probably eating too lean a meat.
Yeah. So you need to increase a little bit your fat, decrease the proteins, because excess sugars turn into fat in your body. But excess sugar and excess insulin decreases fat oxidation, burning of fat, and it increases fat storage. So you're putting fat, you're not letting it do its job.
But isn't fat storage important for survival?
Yeah, well, that's our. I think that's our default.
Well, that's the most important thing because
I know, but you're not letting also, when you have high insulin and high glucose, you're not letting your body burn fat for energy as much as if your insulin and glucose was lower.
Right, but what if we think about it differently? Okay. See, I think we've been given the lie. Okay. So what if fat is always the fuel, period? But remember, insulin only goes up when you eat food, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So I eat food, insulin goes up. Why does insulin go up? In order to convert the food you ate into fat. Because if you don't do that, you're dead. Okay, so because there's nothing, remember, nothing is in a vacuum. It's not happening here and then here and here. It's all happening together. So this idea that insulin blocks fat utilization is not true. Insulin's job is
I don't know if I would say it blocks it. It definitely.
But that's what they say.
Seems to decrease fat oxidation. It's like we have all these. You're right. We have all these reactions going on at the same time.
Right,
we're talking about hundreds of thousands of probably reactions in our body at the same time.
Right, and this is good because Dr. Vasquez and I are sharing a story in a way that maybe we question what we've all been taught, because we're all over. There's a lot of obesity, but obesity doesn't happen without eating food. But is there fat? Are there free fatty acids inside the cytoplasm of every cell? There are.
Yeah.
So why do we even think we're burning sugar? Insulin goes up in order to make fat. And so anyone who has no insulin, a type 1 diabetic, no insulin, becomes skinny, correct? So insulin's job is not to prevent the utilization of stored fat. Its job is to make fat. And if that makes any sense, that we can sort of begin to help people understand it in a better, simplistic way. I mean, I just, you know, how many people have heard about hepatogenous diabetes? I don't think, we weren't taught that, were we, Dr. Nelson?
I don't remember the term. Like you and I went to medical school a long time ago, but I do understand the concept, because I think the liver is very key in type 2 diabetes.
Yes.
There's hepatic dysfunction, along with eventually sometimes pancreatic dysfunction. Not the insulin secretion per se, but glucagon secretion and other enzymes. All these things can happen at the same time. I don't think radiologists talk much about fatty pancreas. They talk about fatty liver but sometimes I think they ignore fatty pancreas unless it's atrophy.
But do you think in general we chastise fat and obesity in our modern medical system?
We probably do. But if you think about it, the obesity itself is not the problem. Whatever is causing everything else, it's causing obesity as well. And it is our default setting to gain weight. If we provide all the energy necessary, we're going to gain weight, because we're supposed to save for, you like to talk about the famine and gestation and the winter coming. You have to get ready for that. But when we provide excess, and excess is the key word for many of those concepts.
Well, and like you and I don't say, oh, let's go hunting this week for our food. We just go to the large boxes and store our food everywhere, you know, in our cupboards, in our freezers, and our refrigerators. which ultimately is one of our biggest downfalls. As a carnivore, what is the best way to deal with vegans? With vegan, is that just?
I try not to argue with them anymore. As far as it's difficult when you have a belief, and I do understand the belief because I come from an upbringing where vegetarianism was emphasized, and so I have to be very careful when I talk to other people. But I just show them the results.
And our need for drugs. I mean, how many diabetics have you seen suddenly need far less or no medications to control their diabetes?
There is no competition. I mean, you change your diet, and it's more effective than any GLP-1 or any medication you can use for diabetes. There are 10 or 12 different groups of medications that are used for diabetes. And if you're a primary care provider, you need to know how to manage diabetes because it's a pandemic, what we have right now. Used to be when I graduated from medical school in 84, and after that, that if you had a diabetic patient, you immediately thought, okay, let me send him or her to the specialist, the endocrinologist, right? I don't remember the last time I sent a diabetic patient to the endocrinologist because everybody expects me to manage that patient, and I learned how to manage that patient. I became excellent at managing that patient, but there's no medication as powerful as changing your diet. Not. Because I've seen it.
And so prior to your carnivore and ketovore experiences, what was the diet that you were sharing with your patients?
Well, actually, for more than 30 years, my recommendation for diabetics has always been cut the carbs. I mean, radically cut the carbs. If you start at least with cutting the breads and the pasta and all the refined flour and all the refined sugar, and if you think about if a patient follows your instructions, cutting all the refined flour and all the refined sugars should have a tremendous effect because almost anything that we are now calling ultra processed foods is refined sugar and refined flours, one way or the other. And if you add to that telling them not to use the vegetable seed oils, really you're left with very low starchy vegetables, some fruits, and the meat. Okay, and even I even used it myself to do my yo-yo dieting, but I learned from Dr. Atkins from his books more than 30 years ago, and that's my first advice always to patients. Now, being from Puerto Rico, often wherever I've been, culturally they seek someone that can provide them care and is from the same culture. So me telling a Puerto Rican to stop eating rice and beans has been very difficult. It's also all Central America, Mexico, and all Central America, they eat a lot of tortillas. My first advice to them is stop the tortillas, and the resistance is very, very large.
And if you look at it, the masses are suffering, but so are the masters, all of us, and sharing this. Couple of quick questions on Instagram. What typically causes fibroids? I think plants do. Look at the goitrogens. Goitrogenic foods cause fibroids, tumors in every organ system of our body. Let's see, immunoglobulin, IgG supplements with egg quality, embryo if you have autoimmune diseases. I mean, really, aren't all autoimmune diseases really immunologic inflammation secondary to a plant protein, low-fat diet, and that's it?
I think so. I agree.
And 8 months, a fundal pedunculated fibroid popped up. Tips: reduce it. Go carnivore. That really is probably the biggest thing that I've seen for so many people. Go carnivore, and so many things go away. I mean, wouldn't you agree with me, Dr. Nelson, that you and I have never seen anything more powerful than carnivore when it comes to suddenly so many diseases just washing away?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And the two things. Number one, do you need to ask permission from your provider to change your diet? I mean, oh, I have to go to the doctor and see if this diet is okay for me. I don't think I can think maybe of some exceptions because you're so sick, you have extreme diseases, but most people don't need to wait.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to do it, do it. Give it a try. 7 days, 30 days, and see how you feel.
Let's see. Deborah Weiss Gall. I've been a faithful carnivore, taking 500-ish berberine 3 times a day. My blood sugar is between 110 and 130. Anything else I can do to get blood sugar down?
Well, she says being a faithful carnivore, doesn't say for how long. So we don't know how long or what other things. If you're having dairy, for example, milk in particularly is a carnivore food, but probably not meant for adult humans. And if you don't have any metabolic problems, maybe it's okay to have some milk, but it does have sugar, it does have carbohydrates. And if you're now, my blood sugar went between 110 and 130. Is that fasting or is that after eating? Because that probably would be a okay blood sugar if it's a couple of hours after eating, maybe an hour after eating, but might not be if it's fasting. So I think tweaking the protein and the fat, maybe, because protein, even if you don't consume any sugar, what does the body do with protein? It's among the things that are used for is to build up structures in your body, right? But excess protein, amino acids, are transformed into sugar and fat.
Well, I guess the question is, when we say excess, I mean, insulin goes up to amino acids and simple sugars, and in the liver, they're converted to fat along with very low density lipoproteins. So, in essence, isn't the liver sort of packaging up these things to be delivered to every cell of our body?
Yeah.
And so Berberine's a plant-made drug supplement.
It is derived from plants. It has
Might have
similar actions to metformin.
but it's a plant product that may actually be producing a lot of sugar. You're taking it 3 times a day. I mean, what if I said take a teaspoon of sugar 3 times a day? And I mean, is that good for us? I don't know. How much is 500 grams of berberine? How much sugar is in it? Sounds not good to me. Any thoughts, doctor?
No. I mean, it's half a gram of the berberine, and it has similar effects to metformin. If someone wants to use that, I'm not opposed, but you're gonna have better success with managing your diet, and you do need to tweak a few things. So there's a lot of information we don't have here, Uh,
So
and
go
you,
ahead.
if you've been, for example, I was diabetic. I should say that, right? I was diabetic for 28, 29 years. I'm not gonna expect everything to get back to normal with just a few months or even a few years.
Right.
Today is it's been 21 days today, the last time I used insulin, and it's been pretty good. But uh, there was some damage in my body. I wouldn't be able to go back to start eating even 20 or 30 grams of carbohydrates a day because my blood sugars will be very high. So I have to stay within my lane, and I'm still eating, I think, pretty good. Uh, I had bought two picanhas this morning. I opened the package because it had been in the refrigerator for a few days, and I put one in a slow cooker. I have never done it low and slow, so I put it in the slow cooker, and the other one I cut into steaks, salted it, put it in the refrigerator. That's gonna be during the week. It'll be consumed.
And let's see, massage by Higinos on Instagram. The system was created to make us sick, and that's why the global elite put carbs there to make us dependent on them, lazy, weak in all the ways. That is really the simple story. We're all basically masterfully civilized, domesticated, I always say. And how many? I mean, how many meals a day do we really? I mean, what are the odds that you ate 3 meals a day 5,000 years ago as a hunter?
Probably not. I mean, maybe twice a day when there was enough of the food. I don't know if you really ate three times a day, but so excess food abundance plays into it. I would like not to think, uh, according to the comment, it's very conspiratorial, right? And I'd like to give humanity the uh, a chance. I don't know if it's always been done on purpose, but yeah, it seems to be the lower socioeconomic
Well,
levels ate.
why would they say you're not allowed to go to the hunting grounds and you're allowed to work the fields and you're only allowed and you must give us at least half, if not more, and you will fight our wars and you will do as we say, otherwise you get the guillotine or the something, you become food or something, right?
Yeah. And Amy, you just had her comment up there.
Brisket boomers, Amy's
Bris-
here.
Brisket boomers mentioned something very important, like exercise. We always talk about thousands of years ago, our ancestors, what they really had access to, and well, another thing that it's not that they wanted to be running around, but they had to be much more active to be able to hunter and gather, right? And we don't do that to those levels.
Yeah.
Not even close. That's the same level of activity. So less. I always remind patients. Sometimes I ask the patients what they do, and if you're telling me that you're a roofer in Florida, 12 months of the year, I'm not going to ask you to do more exercise. But if you're sitting down in an office, we might talk about certain activities you can do and increase because
Standing desk, walking pad,
Mhm.
have some weights inside your office, and instead of going for your break to go get something to eat, go for a walk or take.
Or what?
I do power naps even. I think those are things that are important. A quick one, DBoz7 from Instagram. Carnivore over 3 years, increased fat grams to 20-ish grams greater than protein. If we are fat burners, why do I have more subcutaneous fat? Love handles are large. Well, because the amount of, quote, calories our input are greater than the output. It really is simple as that. The trouble is we don't know how much any real calories are contained in the food we consume. Do we?
And also, we have a almost identical DNA, but we do have a little bit of difference. And sometimes some people do whatever you want to attribute it to. We have a little bit of a different metabolism. Some of us more than others, and that may be enough of a difference.
Yeah.
But when you tweak your fat and protein amounts, you have to take into consideration the total amount of energy you're eating and spending. With I've had to modify my language to try to avoid saying calories, because in the strict sense, calories don't really matter, but energy matters. There's some people might be still putting more than necessary on your body. Naturally, the tendency is going to be to make fat.
Well, it
store it.
always makes fat out of proteins and amino acids and sugars. It's just a matter of whether or not your energy expenditure is greater than your energy input. I mean, I know that I'll go from like 157 down to 152 through fasting or leaner meat, and then I'll be up to 157, 155. I mean, the idea that we're supposed to be the same weight every single day, I mean, that's probably not natural anyway.
Yeah.
Right?
Definitely. Deep. And activity is important. Doesn't mean necessarily exercise. Activity.
Deuce, get up and do so. I do stand-up work at my office, stand-up desk. I do an hour of walking and some light weights every day. Get up and out and go to work, because for the first 3.5 million years, I'm imagining it, you were just laying on the couch all day, which there didn't exist. You probably were going hungry. You might become food too, right? Why? Yeah. Why do people want to eat fake meat? Because the brain wants meat. That's the simple story, right?
That's a very interesting thing that, the people that preach about, don't eat meat because it's bad for you, but then they're making stuff that looks and tastes like it. They go to the extremes to have the fake blood and everything look and try to make it taste like the real thing. We the real thing. I mean, have you seen the ingredients on those Impossible Burgers and whatever other fake?
It's
incredible.
And we're looking for fake experiences in life too. Get out there, go enjoy life, be the potter, the painter, the poet, the musician. Certainly you can enjoy buying other people's experiences, but really we're built to do ourselves. And the last I looked, I imagine our DNA is like a Ferrari. We're just another Ferrari, and 99.999% of us are the same. That's what you were saying. And so there are subtle differences, but the last I looked, nobody's living to 200 years old.
Well, I don't know. I guess they have found some 200 and 300-year-olds getting Social Security. So that's
Omnitrope may pause people's cycles. I already have 2 plants that make my mouth itch and swell. I mean, plants, I don't care. Name a disease. We got this long list of diseases, and we're like, well, I don't know if carnivore helps that disease or that disease. It helps all diseases. Simple. We got Carrie, Homestead How in the house. We got the Feral Grandma, who's your carnivore. Did I miss any questions there, Dr. Nelson? Here's one. Would you get that?
Is pepper bad to use on your meat or eggs? And if not, which to use? Black or white pepper. Okay, I'll give you the short answer is probably yes. and, and the personal answer is I have never been a big fan of black pepper, but I used it a lot. And when I went carnivore and when I was very strict, just went through, for months not having any. But when I try to put the spices, I do like the spices. I cook, and I still have, 3 other people in the house that are not carnivores, so I'm the one cooking. So I have added or had added black pepper. Makes me itch, makes me sneeze, I don't tolerate it very well. I also have a little bit of white pepper. White pepper doesn't do the same to me, but probably better not to use any.
Small amounts from time to time, but all the time could be a cause of some of the diseases you're suffering from. Or I even believe that our sudden deaths and strokes and things like that are caused by sometimes using these things, and that could be a problem.
Yeah, so it makes me itch, sneeze, and I don't tolerate it very well. So I stopped using it.
The kingdom, awesome. Let's see, white pepper, low oxalate levels, according to Jeremiah. Charles.
By the way, it makes me hurt also. It gives me pain. The black pepper particularly.
Yeah. Very philosophical of you to say my way is they lie to themselves and others and really want it. Either way, it's right. I don't know what that was for, but I was listening to someone's, let's see, Brenda Weldon said, love the common sense. And I said, common sense is key, yet brainwashing has created uncommon sense. So ultimately, our scientific driven lifestyles basically have been following a trail of lies, I think. Yeah, I don't typically eat the processed meats like the salami. I love salami, but I try not to eat it as much. And if you're doing it, you want it to be like free of the majority of all the spices and things like that.
Yeah. It's difficult to find, any what we call processed meats without a lot, clean. So best to use fresh, but if you can have a little bit of a beef sausage, summer sausage or something like that, which is something I sometimes buy, everybody else likes it. And it's an emergency food for me. I have some cans of corned beef, like it's an emergency food. In other words, there's nothing else that is
starvation mode set in.
Yeah.
Oppressed plant people syndrome. Awesome. We got let's see. We have a meetup coming up in Austin on the 8th. So go to drkiltz.com or healinghumanity.com. Join us there. Really excited. I'm going to be in Melbourne, Australia, the 26th of April. May is meat stock. I think it's already sold out, but we're going to work on some others. Get Dr. Nelson there, and come.
And if you're not a member of the Kiltz Mighty Tribe, go to drkiltz.com. It's free. You have no excuse.
Yeah, and we're going to work on some more carnivore courses, and Dr. Nelson is helping us and share the message of healthy living for all of us on carnivore. Any other closing comments, Doctor?
Go to drkiltz.com. Spelled out or Dr. Kiltz. Both will take you there.
All right. And then Monday evening, 5:30 p.m. we'll be live on Kiltz Mighty Tribe Zoom meetup. Dr. Nelson, I'm hoping you're going to be there also.
Is it Dr. Baker?
Oh, is it Dr. Baker is going to be there this Monday? I think. I'm in the dark. I'm in the dark. Yeah. I think Dr. Baker is going to be there. Dr. Nelson hopefully will be there also. But we want you to be there. Again, our really drive in life as physicians is to learn and dig deep into ways that we can heal without the healthcare system that you're pouring all your money and you're just getting sicker and sicker. But heal with a new concept and idea. It's community-based healthcare that's social media.
And by the way, we're over an hour now, but you remember my wife has been dealing with what we thought was something cardiac for now over 2 months.
Yes.
And sometimes things we don't think about. Do you know what it was? It was a hair and nail supplement. She stopped it and all the symptoms have gone away. And it's multivitamins, basically.
Well, we don't even know what's in. Again, if you kill the animal and you process and eat it, even the fact you go to the butcher, in general, the meat that we get has far less toxins in it, and potentially, I'm going to say none, compared to the plants and the processed vitamins and the processed sort of products you're going to get. So the cleanest diet is the lion's diet, as Michaela Peterson has shared. And I think we're talking about some new concepts and ideas, Dr. Vasquez. We'll talk about that. So I'm going to end it now. I'll see you guys at 5 a.m. I think Ivy Sardi is going to be there from Australia with us. And so be there 5 a.m. Eastern time, just to share more concepts and ideas of health and wellness. Right, doctor?
Yep.
All right.
See you tomorrow.
My brother Ray's in Kiltz Mighty Tribe, saying hi to Brother Ray. And see everyone. Thanks for being here. God bless.